Dreams are supposed to be harmless, a strange theater inside your head that vanishes when the alarm clock rings. But every now and then, you wake up, and the dream hasn't left you. It follows you into the daylight. Some call them visions, some call them warnings, and others believe they are something much, much darker. Tonight, these are the scariest dream stories that didn't stay in the dream. And they're all true. Story number 1. It started as a dream that didn't feel like a dream at all. I was lying in a hospital bed. The air was cold, the lights were dim, and the faint beep of a heart monitor echoed somewhere far away. At the foot of my bed stood a woman. She wasn't a nurse, and she wasn't family. Her long, dark hair hung over her shoulders, and her gown looked old, not like hospital clothing, but like something from decades ago. She never moved. She just stared at me. Her lips didn't move, but I heard her voice. 3 days. I woke up gasping, my heart pounding. I tried to shake it off as some creepy nightmare, but the feeling stuck with me. The next night, I had the exact same dream, same woman, same bed, same voice. 2 days. By the third night, I was too scared to fall asleep. But I did, and she came again. This time she was closer. Tomorrow. The next day, I got into my car for work, still rattled. I didn't even make it out of my street before another driver ran a red light and plowed into the side of my car. The paramedics told me later that if I hadn't been wearing my seatbelt, I would have died instantly. 3 days. She wasn't warning me, she was counting down. Story number 2. When I was 14, I had a dream that I was walking along a beach. The sky was overcast, the tide was low, and in the distance, there was a small group of people dressed in black. They were standing around a coffin, on the sand. No one spoke. The wind howled, and I could taste salt in the air. One man turned toward me. His eyes were glassy, and his lips moved, but the wind carried his words away. I woke up uneasy, but it was just a dream, until 4 years later. My family was on vacation in Maine, and my father's best friend drowned in a boating accident. They held a memorial for him, not in a church, but on the beach where he'd been found. When we arrived, I froze. It was exactly like my dream, the color of the sky, the arrangement of people, even the way the wind sounded. And then, the man closest to the casket turned toward me. It was the same face from my dream. I don't think I've ever felt cold like that again. Story number 3. I used to work late shifts in downtown Seattle. One night, I dreamed I was riding a nearly empty bus. There was only one other passenger, a man in a heavy coat and gloves. He kept glancing at me in the reflection of the window. In the dream, when the bus stopped and I got off, he followed me. I could hear his footsteps behind me. Then I heard running, and I woke up just before I felt his hands grab me. 2 nights later, my real shift ended late, and I had to take the last bus home. There were only 2 people aboard, me and a man in a heavy coat. He was staring at my reflection in the window. I got off a stop early, pretending I was meeting someone, and sure enough, he followed me off the bus. But when he saw me pull out my phone and start dialing, he turned and disappeared into an alley. If I hadn't had that dream, I wouldn't have been ready. Story number 4. I'd never been to Georgia before, but a few months before my college roommate moved there, I started having recurring dreams of a house. It was 2 stories, with peeling white paint and a porch swing that creaked in the wind. Every time I dreamed of it, I was standing at the front door, my hand on the knob, but I never went inside. Fast forward a year, I visit my roommate's new place for the first time. On the drive there, she says, "It's kind of an old place, you'll see." When we pulled up, my blood ran cold. It was the exact same house from my dream. I didn't want to go inside, but I didn't want to sound crazy either. That night, while I was trying to sleep in the guest room, I heard the porch swing creaking. Then, slow footsteps in the hall. The next morning, I told her what I'd heard. She looked pale and said, "That's exactly why the last tenant moved out. Story number 5. For 3 nights in a row, I dreamed of a little boy sitting on the bottom step of a staircase. He had no expression on his face, and he wore old-fashioned suspenders. The 4th night, I dreamed I was standing at the top of the stairs, looking down at him. This time, he looked right at me and whispered, "Don't go down there." A week later, I was babysitting at a house I'd never been to before. As soon as I walked in, I froze. The staircase was identical to the one in my dream. Halfway through the night, I heard creaking from downstairs. I was about to check it out when the boy I was babysitting called from upstairs, asking for water. When I went to get it, I passed the staircase, and something dark moved at the bottom step. I don't think it was human. Story number 6. A man posted about a dream he'd had every year on the same date, where he drove down Route 9, rounded a sharp bend, and collided head-on with a truck. In the dream, he always woke up on impact. One year, the date came, and he refused to drive anywhere. But later that evening, his wife called from the grocery store, saying her car had broken down. Against his better judgment, he went to pick her up. They took Route 9. As they rounded the bend, a deer leapt into the road. He swerved, right into the path of a truck. But this time, he survived, because the truck driver had also swerved at the last second. The police officer who arrived said, "You're lucky. People usually don't walk away from this curve." Story number 7. When I was 17, I dreamed I woke up in my bedroom to the sound of someone whispering my name. I looked toward my window and saw a dark silhouette standing outside, pressed against the glass. The next night, the same dream, but this time, the window was open. The 3rd night, I woke up for real at 3:14 a.m. to the sound of whispering. My heart sank. I looked toward the window, and the curtains moved. I didn't sleep in that room again for months. Story number 8. My cousin once told me about a dream where she was trapped in a basement slowly filling with black water. She could hear someone walking above her, but no matter how much she screamed, they didn't come. 2 years later, her apartment flooded after a pipe burst. She was trapped in the laundry room in the basement while water poured in. By the time firefighters reached her, the water was chest high. She told me later the scariest part wasn't the flood itself, it was that she could hear footsteps in the hallway above her, just like in her dream. Some dreams fade as soon as we open our eyes. Others are warnings we don't understand until it's too late. So tonight, when you close your eyes, remember these stories. And ask yourself, if you had a nightmare so vivid it felt real, would you listen to it?